Hey everyone, this is Greg Laurie of A New Beginning, heard daily on Bible School Radio 91.3 KDKR Decatur, Dallas, Fort Worth, and on 91.3 KYJC Commerce.
Portions of KDKR programming do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or staff.
Prudent Money with Bob Brooks is sponsored by the Prudent Money Foundation on 91.3.
Well, are you buying into the $1 million myth? Today we're going to take a look. Stay tuned for Prudent Money. Good afternoon, this is Bob Brooks, and you are listening to the Prudent Money Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I do appreciate it. If you got a question for me, I want you to go to the website at www.prudentmoney.com. You can send it in to the Ask Bob section of the website, and I'll get that taken care of for you. You can also schedule a little bit of time if you need more than just what an email will take care of. If you've really got a problem or just information you're trying to figure out, any way I can help you, bottom line. Just put your name down on some time, and we'll get you taken care of. We'll give you a call and schedule something to talk about it. That's all at the website, www.prudentmoney.com. And if you have not done so, go to the website and take the risk assessment, fill out the risk assessment tool. It will tell you exactly what your risk level is, and I cannot stress how important that is to make sure that you are invested based on your true risk level. So very important, and I think it is even more so as risk continues to mount in this market. So that's off the website, and I make that personal to your situation, by the way, the risk assessment tool, and we'll send it to you, and I think it'll really help you out. So there's no cost, no obligation, or anything such as that. So that's off the website, www.prudentmoney.com. Well, are you worried about retirement? See, one of the things that goes along with the job of being a financial advisor is almost every day you're talking to somebody about retirement. And you're talking about the emotions that go along with retirement. And what typically rears its ugly head is the anxiety of retirement. Am I going to get there? Am I going to do it? And I'll tell you, and I've said this a lot of times, one of the reasons, or the main reason why I think there's so much anxiety is that there's so much confusion in the retirement marketplace of what things mean, of what pop culture finance is saying, what they're telling you to do, how they want you to believe that there's 3 or 4 things that as long as you accomplish those, you're guaranteed to retire. One of which is the $1 million myth. I'll be talking about that here in just a second. Well, let's talk a little bit about what it is that you need to know that can help you get to a point to where you don't have this anxiety, but you've got a solid strategy lined up to get you to retirement. There's an article that was just posted from it was a survey done by Schroders 2024 U.S. Retirement Survey. And they talk about how worried people are about retirement. They start out the article about the survey, and they talk about how there's so many people who don't have 401k plans, and they're worrying. Well, you don't necessarily need a 401k plan to be successful, by the way. And in fact, as I've talked about in the past, there are a lot of 401k plans that are not very good. And it actually makes sense not to use them as your chief investment vehicle. And then they go on to say, but there's a lot of people who have 401k plans they're worried about retirement, furthering the need for those employees to contact, they say, with advisors, is the fact that many believe they'll need well in excess of $1 million to have a comfortable retirement. And this is just what blows my mind, is this arbitrary benchmark, the goal line, that you're going to need $1 million in the bank, in investments, whatever, to have a comfortable retirement. What is a comfortable retirement anyway? See, there's a couple of problems, and we'll get more into this in a minute, but there's a couple of problems with the $1 million myth, that everybody needs $1 million or they won't retire. And it's just like I was meeting with this individual one time. She was an older lady, and she said, I'm so very discouraged because my current advisor says that I need $5 million to retire the way I want to retire. I asked her a couple of questions. I looked at her assets, and I go, you have $2 million. In fact, if you wanted to retire, you could retire today. So I've just never, I don't know. It's beyond me how advisors are planning for people and coming up with these numbers. But the recently published survey indicates that Americans with access to employer-sponsored retirement plans, so the assumption here is that you got to have 401k or you won't be successful, believe they'll need $1.2 million to have sound retirements. That is a sizable number, and that might be hard to reach for many workers. Well, a couple of things on that. It may or may not be. Depends if you got 20 years to do it, because $1 million is going to be a lot smaller of a number 20 years from now because of inflation, which they never seem to point that out. In fact, we never even know what our time period is when we're talking about these articles in Pop Culture Finance. It says 46% expect to have less than $500,000 in savings at retirement, including 23% who say they will have less than $250,000. Just 29% believe they will reach the $1 million mark before retiring. You see, here's what ends up happening, is that they look at it and they go, well, if I can't reach $1 million, then I might as well give up. That's what, I think from a human nature standpoint, we do that, right? We get into a situation where we go, well, I can't hit that goal, so I'll just, subconsciously I'll just give up. I'll do something else that I would have been doing, some retirement planning, something useful. I'll just forget about it. So 29% believe they can't get there. And then you've got 46% expect to have less than $500,000 savings for retirement. I was running some numbers. And let's just assume it is today that they're talking about these numbers, because they don't give a time period. See, that's the thing about retirement planning. You got to be specific with the details. You can be assumption. You can do a lot of different things with the outcome, but you've got to be specific with the details that give you the outcome. This average age at which plan participants expect to retire is 63. Now, maybe, and I'm not even so sure, depending what the need is. This is the thing. What is the need, and when are you going to need the money? How much are you going to need each month to live in retirement? If you're 63, you're going to have a way, way more, because your Social Security doesn't kick in until 67. Or it shouldn't kick in until 67, 66, 67, depending on your retirement age. See, what I don't think that the other thing that I don't think that people understand is that Social Security, like it or not, and there's a whole we could do shows on the myths of Social Security, but it's important. You paid into it for 15, it's not 15. You paid through it for 40, 45 years or whatever, however long your working life is. And you are entitled, and that's not a great word, but it is true. You're entitled to that Social Security. And if you run the numbers, it's a pretty good amount of money that you've got saved back for retirement. So, but 63, and now that may be generally across the board unrealistic because of what you would need. Because that's going to be a long time that you're going to have to self-fund retirement. And the thing is, you're going to spend more money, more than likely, at the beginning than you are at the end. So you'll put more of that money to work. It says the poll indicates those asked have allocations of just 29% to stocks and a staggering 28% to cash. I love this. The former is too low, meaning they have way too much, way too little in stocks, and the latter is dangerously high, 28% to cash. You see, number one, they don't give any ages here. Does this apply to the couple who are a year away, 5 years away, 20 years away, 30 years away? Because the time span matters, and it depends on why. See, this is they villainize you for wanting to take risk off the table by going into a cash account that's paying 5%. What is wrong with that? As long as you have a prudent strategy to get back into the market. But no, what they want you to do, you're wrong if you don't have enough stock, if you're not invested all in stock. It's like you're taking everybody and making them one. Everybody's different when it comes to money. Everybody's different as far as their emotional, their makeup, and what they want to do and how they want to do it. More on that in a minute. This is Bob Brooks. We are up against the break. Stick around. I'll be right back. Hello, this is Bob Brooks. Proverbs 22:3 and Proverbs 27:12 are the exact same verse word for word. I call them the stewardship verses of risk. A prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. On the Prudent Money Radio Show, we teach about risk, how to identify it, how to figure it out, and what to do about it. We believe that to be a prudent steward, you have to be a good risk manager. Listen to the Prudent Money Radio Show on Bible School Radio 91.3. Prudent Money, home of the modern-day steward movement.
The way the Word of God is taught is extremely important. But did you know that the way we listen is just as important? Take a closer look at the kingdom of God through the parables of Jesus. That's our focus this week on Truth for Life with Alistair Begg.
Weekdays at 5:30 a.m. here on 91.3 KDKR.
Hi, I'm Jan Markell, host of Understanding the Times. We're very excited to be a part of Bible School Radio. I hope you will join me Saturday, 10 a.m. for cutting-edge guests and the latest information to help you discern the truth, even the inconvenient truth. We'll help you understand our times and contend for the faith. That's Understanding the Times, Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Bible School Radio or anytime at olivetreeviews.org.
Welcome back. This is Bob Brooks, and you are listening to the Prudent Money Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I do appreciate it. Listen, this is going to be a two-part subject, a two-day subject. We'll start it today. There's so much I want to talk about when it comes to this, and we'll finish it up tomorrow. With a little bit at the end of the program, talking about what Chuck Bentley and I were talking about last week before the debate. How do things look after the debate? And as far as the markets go and the market's reaction and what could take place. I'm hoping we get all that done in 2 days. John Apollo, the college expert in this country on college admissions and student loans will be here with me on Wednesday. And, of course, we've got 4th of July towards the end of the week, which is always nice, and taking a little bit of time off for that. So there you have it. Okay, so here, this is talking about cash in the account, 28%. No, excuse me. 28% is in cash. It says there's an emotional component to those big cash allocations. 28, ladies and gentlemen, 28% in cash is not a big cash allocation. Put simply, plan participants are afraid of losing retirement money so much that they are missing out on a bull market for stocks. You see, this would suggest, the assumption is, we're always in a bull market. We'll stay in a bull market, and if you ever miss any of it, you've missed the bull market. So not true. 88% are concerned with how the 2024 U.S. presidential election will impact their retirement savings. You know, I would say the elections, and I'll give you a little bit of a preview. The elections, to me, they're gonna cause some temporary uncertainty, maybe create a 10 to 15% correction, something like that. I don't think that's going to be the big reason why we head into a recession or why we head into a bear market. I think there's other reasons why that are much more serious. The only thing the election is going to do is create uncertainty. Markets hate uncertainty. It says 32% say they will not. Okay, so 88% are concerned. 32% say they will not make any changes to their retirement. Okay. 32% are unsure if they will make changes. So we have 32% are made up their mind, 32% are unsure. So that's 64%. They're 88% concerned about the impact of their relationship, their retirement savings, and they're probably not going to do anything. Just 9% of plan participants expect to get more aggressive with their retirement investment leading up to November. There's not even a category in here for those who are going to make a change to reduce risk. So the $1 million myth, this is what you need to retire. And they never use inflation-based numbers, which just makes this a ineffective argument. And they make assumptions on your need. Now, this would be my question. I need $1 million in what time period to fund what need? That's the question. And I've never come across an article that gives the statistics, that gives the details. But this is the reason I think the people are worried. Two reasons. The first one is they don't know because they don't run the numbers. They don't know because they don't know the numbers. I did a kind of a campaign one year talking about know your unknowns. What our unknowns are is whether or not we're going to retire, whether or not we're going to eventually run out of money. And obviously you're not going to know for sure, but you do know if you achieve 3 different goals consistently, let's just say, then you should be in the ballpark to hit your main goal. But you don't know that you're on track. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that would come into my office and say, "There's no way I'm going to be able to retire." And I show them that they can, that there's a way, that the numbers can make sense. And they're surprised, they're shocked. Do you realize I ran these numbers beforehand. I don't think that I mentioned this in the beginning. I was starting to, and I got sidetracked. If a person had $500,000 and they both collected they both retired at 67, they both collected Social Security, and they both maxed out their time in Social Security. Between the $500,000, the interest, in fact, you could even put this in a guaranteed interest rate. Add your Social Security to it and collect, before tax, $97,000. $97,000 a year. Now, inflation will admittedly eat into that sum. But $97,000 a year. If you had all of your bills paid, go a long way on $97,000. That's with $500,000 sitting in a bank. You could even do it with, you can't do that one, but you could do, let's see off the top of my head, $70,000 at $250,000. Now that's today's numbers. Looking, I don't want to do what I just accused them of doing. That's today's dollars looking at current, if they were going to retire, say 2 or 3 years. But they're worried because they don't know whether they should be worried or not. So they just assume that, I think that's kind of, once again, human nature. We have that fatalistic, if I don't know, it probably, it's bad. It's really bad. So the second one is they're listening to Pop Culture Finance about this ridiculous $1 million benchmark. You may need $1 million. You may not need $1 million. It just depends on what you need. So here's some things that can go alongside of planning, saving, investing, managing your risk. It's not just about saving a percent of your income, as Pop Culture Finance will have you believe. It's about a lot of different things that add up together to bring you long-term success. Tips to get a more accurate retirement. First of all, if you have the ability to do so, make a plan to be out of debt. If you can get out of debt, if you can walk into retirement without any debt, with just pure cost of living needs, you'd be shocked at how little that you do need in a worst case scenario. See, I want to make something clear is that one of the things you got to think about, if you are retiring a little bit early, meaning you can take a little bit less, you'll have to take a little bit less, you're valuing your freedom of time above a luxurious retirement or whatever, a more expensive retirement. This is all about, at least this has always been my opinion, retirement's about freedom. It's, to give you a good example, it's about freedom to serve. Think about all the things that you would love just to have the time to do that nobody has to pay you to do. Things you can do for ministries, things you can do for church. Can you imagine a life of where you bring your expertise into a church, forego getting paid, and just giving back with no concerns, no lenders asking you to do something, no lenders requiring you to send a payment in? You're done with that. That is huge, to be completely out of debt. Second thing is accumulate cash. That's one of the first things I look for when a couple comes in to sit down and talk to me. How are they doing on the cash account? And if they're 5 years out and maybe they've accumulated not enough cash that they feel comfortable with, I tell them to focus on that, depending on what's going on, what they're assuming they're on target with their other numbers. Focus on accumulating cash. Now, of course, that used to be a harder sell a long time ago because it was only paying 0.5%. Today, 5%. Why not accumulate cash? Not bad. So there's my cue. There's lots of things we're going to talk about. We'll finish this up tomorrow. But you can always listen to it on the podcast, which will be available in about 10 minutes. Hey, this is Bob Brooks. If you got a question for me, please go to the website at prudentmoney.com and send it in, because we are all out of time. Till we do meet again next time. Keep the faith and have a great rest of the day.
That's all the time we have for today. Questions or comments for Bob, or to find out more great information like what you've just heard, visit www.prudentmoney.com. Be sure to join Bob Brooks again for the next edition of Prudent Money.